Good afternoon, Houston. Welcome to Dabang Power Hour. This is your co-host, Adrianne Norman, and thank you for joining us today. We are your nonpartisan, educational, excitement, get you ready to get involved in the community radio show, and I'm here with my co-host, Afsheen. How are you this afternoon?
I am very well, doing much, much better.
I'm
Oh my
glad that you're
gosh.
feeling better.
I'm glad to be here. I'm sorry I missed last week. Missed you all. I didn't get to hear all of you guys. I was busy coughing away with this allergies that's going around and this craziness. Good to be back. Good to be here and share some education with you guys. And with the elections coming up, we'd love to hear from all of you guys. Call in, tune with us. Call in 713-974-4000. Today's guest, we have special guest is Laura Richard, our Fort Bend County clerk.
And I'm so excited to get to talk to her and have her explain what she and her office do. And we've got lots of questions, but if you've got some questions as well, feel free to call in. But it is election time. Afsheen, have you been doing anything to get the vote out?
Well, yes, I've been contacting a lot of my contacts, since there's just a lot of things going on in Fort Bend County on the Democratic side. A lot of questions, answers, but I've been trying to pull them out, hey, you got to come and vote. There's a lot of events going around, so I've been trying to bring out a few of my friends here and there, hey, come on, let's go visit these candidates, talk to them, get to know them, ask them questions, whatever you have on your mind. That's what I've been doing the whole weekend. So that's just been a lot of things going around. So people, you guys need to get out. There's a lot of things going around our Fort Bend County. I will list those communities out where you can get involved, engage, become members. Everyone is bringing out candidates. They're speaking for themselves. Hear them out. Engage with them. That's the best way to get to know them and know who you're voting for.
Yeah, it's and just so you can mark your calendars in case you haven't already. Election Day is November 5th, but we are less than 1 week away from the start of early voting. Early voting starts next Monday, the 21st. So you can do your research and get ready and just knock it out that very first day. But that's a really convenient way to fit it into your schedule so you don't have to wait in long lines on election day. You've got the ability to vote anywhere in Fort Bend County, or if you live in Harris County, anywhere in Harris County. And it's open over the weekend as well, so you don't have to take off work if that's a concern. So no excuse to not vote with
Yes,
early
ma'am.
voting available to you. So make sure that you get out there to do that. One thing that I wanted to spend just a little bit of time on today is one of the interesting factors about American politics, and that's the Electoral College.
Oh.
Yes, the Electoral College. I think that, a lot of people might not understand, one, what is it, or two, how it works. But it's surprising when you tell people that just because you win the most votes in the United States when you run for president doesn't necessarily mean that you win the election. We have this kind of weird combination system called the Electoral College. And I think that it's important for people to understand why we have it and what it is. So what it really does is, instead of a national race where you've got the popular vote, whoever gets the most votes wins, it's really who wins each state. It's a popular vote in each state. So if the candidate wins the most votes in the state, they get all of that state's electors. So what is an elector, and why do we care? What's the deal with those? Each state has a certain number of electors. The grand total is 578 in the whole United States.
Wow.
But the magic number, this is the number you'll see on election night. The number that people focus on, the magic number to win is 270. That's the majority of the Electoral College votes. So each state gets the number of electors with the number of senators, which is always 2. Every state has 2 senators, plus the number of members they have in the House of Representatives, which is based on their population. So like Texas, we're a big state, lots of people in our state. We've got 40 electors in the Electoral College. That's a big chunk of the 538. So that's our 2 senators plus our 38 members in the House of Representatives. Then you look at a state like at Wyoming, big state physically, but not a lot of people living there. So you've got their 2 senators and just 1 member of the House. So they have 3 Electoral College votes. So everybody adds up their electors after election night, and you can win the most votes in the state and you get all of the electors. So let's say in Texas that Donald Trump wins 50.1% of all the votes in Texas. Well, he's not going to get 50.1% of the electors. He's going to get all 40 of those electors to go into his pile for the Electoral College. So, why is that important? Why should we recognize that system and how it works? Well, like I said, it's possible that a candidate can win the popular vote, win the most votes, but still not win the election for president. And that's happened 5 times in our nation's history. The 2 most recent, of course, we're familiar with in 2016. Hillary Clinton won, I think it was around 3 million more votes in the popular vote than Donald Trump. And then in 2000, it was just razor thin between Al Gore and George W. Bush. And I think that Al Gore won the popular vote by less than 500,000 votes. I mean, when you're talking about a country-wide population, that's just a very narrow, margin of victory in the popular vote. But George W. Bush won the presidency, of course. So why do we have this weird system? Whenever our founding fathers were writing the Constitution, they had a big battle between the big states with lots of people and small states with a few people. But also, we had just fought a revolution against a king, against a tyrant. And so there were still a lot of people afraid of giving too much power to Congress. They didn't necessarily want Congress to pick our president, but they didn't really trust the people to pick the president either. So all of this in the Electoral College was a way to compromise between the big states and the little states, and then also the power to the people or the power to Congress. And candidates, really presidential candidates, have to understand how to make the Electoral College work to their advantage. I'm sure as y'all have watched the news, you've heard them focus on swing states. Everybody's talking about the swing states right now. So what is a swing state? Those are the states where the election could go either way. It could go either for Donald Trump or either for Kamala Harris. Swing either way. And right now they're focusing on about 7 swing states that could make or break the election for either candidate. So you'll see candidates and the people that support them right now until Election Day. They're going to be where? They're going to be in Pennsylvania. They're going to be in Michigan, Wisconsin, Georgia, of course, Arizona, North Carolina. In those states right now, Trump and Harris are within about a percentage point of each other in the polling. They are so close. So those states could go either way. And so the candidates know, Donald Trump knows he doesn't need to campaign in California. He doesn't need to campaign in New York. He's not going to win the Electoral College votes in those states. Those states vote Democrat every single presidential election. Same as Kamala Harris knows, you know what, I really should probably not waste a whole lot of time campaigning in Texas because more than likely Donald Trump's going to win the Electoral College votes in Texas. You know, these candidates, they have limited time, limited resources, so let's focus it where it's going to make the most difference. And that's why all over the news you hear them focusing on these swing states. And so I just think it's fascinating that, over 200 years ago, these guys sat around and came up with this really convoluted system that we still use today. And there are some advantages to it. It does give some voice to those smaller states. I mean, nobody'd be talking to Wisconsin if we just relied on the popular vote. The candidates would go to the big cities where the most people are. So, it does give some voice to those smaller states. It also, if we need a recount, we're not recounting a nationwide popular vote. We're recounting state by state, which we've had to do before, right? And that still took a long time. But of course, the biggest disadvantage, and it comes up every time it happens, is that winner of the popular vote for the United States might not win the election for president. And so, of course, some people too might not think that their vote really matters if you're voting as a Democrat in Texas for the president. And this is what, Afsheen, you and I have been preaching every show, right? Democrat or Republican, and people listen to us from all over. You've got to vote all the way down the ballot because your voice needs to be heard, not just for the presidential election, but remember those local races too are often decided by very slim margins. And so I think that's a nice transition over to our guest today, but I wanted to, that number 270, be ready to, that map's going to be all over on election night. So I wanted to make sure everybody understood what that was going to be all about. But I think that's a nice transition point to our guest, the Fort Bend County Clerk, Laura Richard. Miss Richard, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you for being here with
Absolutely.
us. We're excited to have you here.
Thank you.
I guess just tell our listeners a little bit about you as a person, then we'll talk more about the job that you do.
Okay, sure. Well, I've been the county clerk for 10 years now. This is my third term. Prior to that, I was briefly a justice of the peace in Fort Bend County. And then prior to that, I spent 20 years at a technology company, which I kind of quote unquote retired from. And I just decided I wanted to be more involved in my own community and contribute to my community. And I was raising 3 small children as well. So travel schedule for the technology company got a little bit too much.
Wow.
When you're leaving color-coded spreadsheets for your husband to follow for the kids' activities, you're way in over your head. So it was nice to come back to my own community, work in my community, live in my community, and contribute to my community.
Oh, good.
So the county clerk is an elected position then?
It is. It's a 4-year term, thankfully not a 2-year term like some others are, but it's a 4-year term, and I run on the governor's ballot, so I'm not on this presidential ballot.
Okay.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yes.
So I guess in a general sense,
Sure.
What are the duties of a county clerk?
Okay, and this may take a little while,
That's
so
fine.
bear
Okay,
with
we'll
me.
break
No,
it down
go
too.
ahead.
We'll go back
Please,
through.
we're here.
Because county clerks do a lot
They
of different
do.
things. And I will also say the duties vary per county. So I will tell you
Great
what
point.
I do, all right? So first of all, I'm the local registrar. What does that mean? It means for the entire county, I issue birth certificates, death certificates, and marriage licenses.
Okay.
I'm also have the official public records of the county. So that means that we record mostly real estate documents. If you're going to buy a home, if you're going to sell a home, title companies record with us, lawyers record with us, but there's also affidavits that are filed with us. One of our most popular documents are DBAs, or doing business as, an assumed name
Very popular.
for a business. We get hundreds of those literally every month.
Yeah.
Wow.
So business is booming in Fort Bend County.
Absolutely.
People are opening up businesses. So that's really the official public records area. In addition to that, I also sit on Commissioner's Court. I'm not a part of the court, but what I do is I take the minutes for the court.
Oh, nice.
And I know, that may sound like it's trivial, But behind the scenes, there's a lot to it. We have to record accurate records of the votes that are taken, as well as we process all of the documents for each agenda item. So if you think about all the contracts that go through Commissioner's Court, a lot of different documents. Right. So we are handling all of those documents and making sure they get recorded. All right. So that kind of those are kind of considered one division that I manage. My second division is really called the Courts Division. All of the filings for the county court at laws are filed in my office, and we process every single document that comes through. What does that mean? So there are 6 county court at law courts and 1 associate court. They hear misdemeanor cases, civil cases, probate cases, mental health cases, toll road cases. So a lot of different variety, and they're all general jurisdiction courts. So they hear all of those.
A lot of people don't realize that those 6 judges hear such a diverse range of matters, and y'all got to keep up with all of that.
And I left out one, juvenile.
Juvenile
as well. Yes, absolutely. So yes, the courts are always switching hats as to whatever docket they're hearing, and I have clerks that are focused on processing those different areas of filings. We get, of course, thousands of filings. I would say probably in the neighborhood of maybe a little under 10,000 filings a year through the courts.
And are those coming to you in paper, or how are those getting to you?
So almost everything by Supreme Court mandate is e-filed, except for juvenile. And juvenile has very particular security issues, as you can imagine. So those are paper filed.
Okay.
Yes.
And if you're, I guess, for those types of, if you're handling a matter in the county court and you're not an attorney, do you have access to e-filing?
Great question. So if you're a pro se litigant, you may hand us paper right over the counter. You are not mandated to e-file. Only attorneys are mandated to e-file. Okay. In fact, the district attorney is not even mandated to e-file to us. So a lot of times we'll get paper from them as well. We do have what we call electronic queues between the clerk and the judges. So electronically, we are sending papers to be processed, signed, looked at by the judge for their dockets. So, once we get, whether it's something in e-filed or whether it's paper, it becomes electronic.
Okay.
All right. And so then we're electronically communicating with the courts.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. And so all of those court records, your staff is responsible for scanning and uploading and checking and making sure that they get filed appropriately.
That's correct. Issuing summons, issuing subpoenas, interfacing with the sheriff's office if there's a warrant out there. So we interface with a lot of internal departments as well. Yes. So mine is, I always consider it a volume business. On the official public recording side, we get about 125,000 documents a year. Wow. On the what we call the vital side, which is the local registrar side, we're issuing probably 24,000 copies of birth, death, and marriage certificates. And probably filing, I just recently looked, I think we had around 5,500 births filed with us last year, about 4,800 deaths filed with us last year. Oh. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah, it's a volume business, most definitely. I have 100 clerks that work for me in various locations around the county. I have 6 locations actually. Oh wow. 2 main locations. I believe I'm still not quite sure, but I was up to at least a certain point, the only elected official that had split duties per building. So my official public records and my registrar records are at the Travis Building in Richmond. Okay. 301 Jackson Street. And then my courts division is, of course, in the courts building, which is the big justice building.
Right.
But then I have annexes around the community to serve you locally as well.
So if you need a
Nice.
copy of a birth certificate, you don't necessarily
Absolutely.
have to go into Richmond to the, I guess the Travis building would be where you would go for that?
If you're in Richmond, come to the Travis building.
Okay.
But I have Sugar Land, I have Katy, I have Missouri City, and I have
That's not
Siena.
the only thing you handle. You also handle bonds, deeds, and stuff like that. as well?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yes, yes. And before you come to the office, we love to see your shining face, of course, so come to our office. But please check out the website because I have instructional videos on there. You know, if you're kind of not sure about what it is you're looking for or what
And
you
what would be that
need.
website so we
So
can
it's
let our listeners-
fbctx.gov and click on County Clerk.
And so do you have to make an appointment to come in, if you need to, let's just say, I mean, a common thing is probably copies of birth certificates,
Yes,
things like that.
absolutely.
Or to get a marriage license, and maybe there's different steps for each thing that you need. Do you need to make an appointment?
You absolutely do not need to make an appointment. I would encourage you to look at the website because we have an indication on there for each location as to how long the line might be.
Oh, current, like
Okay.
current,
So
current
yes,
line waiting.
currently it's
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
it's
So it's
up to
updated
it's
live.
up to the minute. It is
Wow.
live, absolutely. So if you're between Richmond and Sugar Land, and Richmond looks like it's a long line, go to Sugar Land.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
How convenient
yes.
for the public.
You can also get copies of your birth certificate, death certificate online as well.
Yeah, let's talk to our
yeah.
listeners about that process. How I guess how much does it cost? What exactly can you get from the online request?
Yeah, so the online requests are pricier because it's going to be federal expressed to you. So, if it's some people don't live in Texas, but they
Sure.
were born in Texas,
Yeah.
so they need their birth certificate
Right.
or they need a copy of their marriage license.
Right.
So, for those people, obviously go to my website and all the instructions are there for getting an online, copy of that certificate that you need. If you're local, it's probably more convenient just to come into the office, but that option is there,
Do
absolutely.
you know what kind of turnaround if you are requesting an online, ordering it online for it to be
Right.
shipped to you? Do you need to allow a month, or how much time do you need to
What's
allow
the time
yourself?
frame
No.
on the turnaround?
If you're applying to the state, you need to allow a month, 6 weeks, a long
Wow.
time. Yeah, so I encourage you, go to your local county clerk first.
Okay.
It is possible that sometimes the state holds those certificates and we can't get to them, so you do have to go to the state. But back to your question, if it's online, those are processed they're processed within 24 hours. So within about 48, 72 hours, you will
Okay.
get that.
So
yeah.
you don't.
It's a
have
very
to-
quick turnaround.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yes.
That's a
Yes.
great service.
Yes.
You mentioned this, at the beginning, how quickly Fort Bend County is growing.
Oh, yes.
It's not only booming in population; it's a very diverse county.
Yes.
And these are services that all of the people of Fort Bend County need. Is there anything that your office has to help people that need your services but might not speak English or need help in another language to order different things or to do business with you?
Absolutely. So early on, I saw this need, and I think I was the first elected official to have what we call language line. And so this is an in-office service, I have to say. So you do need to come into the office. But once you're in the office, we service 240 plus languages.
Wow.
Yes.
Amazing.
Including sign language, by the way.
Oh, very good.
Yes. So when you come into our office, literally we have an iPad there or we'll have a poster of some sort and you point to your language, all right? And we will immediately call into the service that we have. And you will have an opportunity to speak to that person that's on the phone. My person is also on the phone, and the interpreter is in between you two. It's a confidential service, and I do want to stress that.
good.
Because you're dealing with confidential information,
Absolutely.
birthdays.
So these aren't just
Confidentiality.
random
names.
people.
These are
interpreters,
not
they're
random people.
certified,
Absolutely. It is a
that-
certified service, confidential service, yes. And so between then the three people, it is everything is translated, and we are able to service you right then and there.
That's amazing. That's a real, I mean, for especially
That's a
for
very valuable piece you have
yes,
there.
for a
and
county like
for our
Fort
county,
Bend,
yes.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Because we're
Yes.
growing by the minute.
We are growing by the minute.
So,
We're approaching
yes.
that 1 million
Yes,
mark.
Yes, exactly.
And
So that should help a lot.
yes, because we're split so evenly,
Yeah.
in our cultural diversity,
Right.
and so I wanted to make sure that people felt comfortable coming into the office and be able to walk out with the service that they need.
Absolutely.
So
It's amazing.
in addition to, I guess, those language services with our growing county, with your technology background, I'm assuming too, are there other things that your office has done to, I guess, make the county clerk's office work better for this growing population, or things that have streamlined, or what have your office done to address just meeting the needs of almost 1 million people at
Like
this
what
point?
technologies have you implemented to service
Sure.
our,
Sure,
residents
sure. So COVID taught us a lot, right?
Yeah,
All of
absolutely.
us.
Everybody's working online.
Right, exactly.
Work from home.
So we put so many more services online, including documents that you can look up yourself.
Okay.
So I want to make sure that the community really knows they in no way have to come into the office just to view documents. So many people want to see, court records.
Yeah.
So many people want to see the real estate records. Is my deed out there?
Yeah.
What is my mortgage company filed?
Right.
And so I just want to, reiterate that all of that is online. So again, fbctx.gov,
Okay.
click on County Clerk, and you will see a whole section of on my website that you can click through and be able to view all of those different
Wow,
documents.
that's
All right.
amazing.
So people often don't realize that. You're welcome to come to the office and we'll show you how to use it, but it's very self-intuitive.
online. Everything's online.
It is all online. One of the other services that I'm have been offering is, unfortunately, with a growth, also there comes some crime, right? And so what we've seen an uptick in is real estate theft.
Yes.
And so some people might not realize that people are filing documents in order to acquire the property that you, in fact, own. That might be your home, might be your business, might be just a piece of property that you own. And so, again, this is an online service. You just go to my website, and it's a free service for you to sign up. People file documents in official public records all the time that are completely legal. But there are ways around the system. And so the clerks are actively working with the legislature on this to try to close those loopholes, if you will. Okay. The clerks have to file documents that are what they're called regular on their face, all right?
Okay.
So that means it has a proper title. A proper known title, not a strange looking title.
Right.
And it has to have language that is proper as well. So if all of the different parameters are met that we go through, and we do look at the documents, we looked at all the documents that come in over the counter, we have to record it.
Because it's not your job to say, is it
We're not
in
the
the
police.
material in it
Right.
is good or bad or right
That
or
is
wrong.
correct.
You're just looking at the format and
But
making
we
sure,
do
yeah.
catch a lot of oddities.
Sure.
Let me put it that way. And if we catch some of those oddities, we will send it to our own legal counsel and say, legal counsel, please look at this and you tell us whether it's recordable or not. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. So we do try, because we want our records
Yeah.
to be clean, and we certainly don't want it to reflect badly on somebody else whose property they properly own. This is called property fraud alert.
I think this is
wow.
fabulous.
So-
it's like the identity theft alert,
It
but it's your
is,
property.
but it's completely free. And so I want everybody, if you own a piece of property in Fort Bend County, I want you to go to my website. I want you to sign up for this. All you have to do is put in your name, Put your name in 12 different ways if you want. It doesn't matter. Put your trust name in there. Put your business name in there. And then you will be contacted either by phone or by email, your choice, as to when any document is recorded in the official public records of the Fort Bend County Clerk. Now, that's great, but you may own property in another county in Texas, right? Or maybe even another state. And the great thing about this is when you sign up for My Property Fraud Alert, you'll see all the other counties in Texas that have it as well.
Oh, great.
You'll see other states that have it as well. So what I really want to encourage you to do is sign up wherever you have property. Because it's not just Fort Bend, obviously.
And you see these crazy stories on the news all the time where
All the
people,
time.
Yes, you do.
"Hey, I own this house," or "it was my parents'
Yes,
house,
you
and then
do.
I went to sell it, and somebody was living
They
in it,
clone
and I had no
paperwork and-
idea."
And they have no idea. Absolutely.
Just amazing.
And I will say seniors are targeted.
Sure.
Absolutely, most of them,
definitely.
because they're not in their census.
That's right. That's
Absolutely,
right.
and they just get them to sign.
they may completely own the
Yeah.
property. There's no mortgage on it or anything.
Right.
And of course, these people look for abandoned properties.
Right.
Oh, wow.
So
That's
if you
the-
own one of those, you want to make sure you sign up for this,
Sure.
or they look
Absolutely.
abandoned. Maybe I
Right.
should
Yeah.
say,
Right.
or it was a business. Well, I'm no longer running that business, but I still own the property, type of thing. So. I really encourage the entire community to. Why not? It's free.
Absolutely.
Sign up
Yeah.
for this.
I know,
Yeah,
it's
but
all-
there's been an uptick in those particular crimes, and I call it property theft.
Sure,
It's
it
a theft.
really is.
It's a theft of property, and
Absolutely.
it can be prosecuted.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yes.
that is,
it can.
that's a great service.
Great.
It's amazing to know that.
You talked a little bit about the in your records division, the DBAs that you handle.
Oh yes.
And like you said, I'm sure y'all all the time, just hundreds and hundreds every month. I guess if you are in Fort Bend County and you're wanting to set up a business, can you give some guidance to our listeners on, how the county clerk can help with that?
Right. So, first of all, I will say, as the county clerk, I'm not a lawyer and I cannot give you legal advice. Okay. So, I can't really tell you where to file or what to file. I can provide you various forms. But when you're starting a business, what I would encourage you to do is go to the Secretary of State site. They have a wealth of information there, and it will also, and you can go to my site as well. I mean, I certainly have information there too, but there are certain DBAs doing business as that you would file on a county basis, and there's certain that you would file on a state basis. And so I'd encourage you to look that up because it can be confusing depending on how you formed your company. Again, I can't tell you what to file or not to file, but what I encourage you to do is either seek out legal advice or look at the Secretary of State site, look at my site, search other free legal sites, of which I have several listed on my website as well, and figure out where you need to file that. If you come into my office and we've got forms there for you, we'll certainly let you know at that point in time. No, I'm sorry, this is not recordable with us. But you probably don't want to get to that point.
Sure. Right.
Just I'd encourage you to do a little homework prior to that. Yes.
So I think I've seen on maybe your office's social media, or maybe somebody told me that y'all do a little celebrating for new businesses in Fort Bend County.
We do.
So I want our listeners to hear about
so we
what
do
y'all
a
do for
ribbon
that.
cutting,
Yeah.
which is, kind of sort of like a chamber type of thing. So when you file a DBA with my office, we will come out at the date of your choosing, and we have the ribbons, we have the big scissors.
Wow.
And we will come out and we will stream that on social media for you.
Nice.
We will publicize that and just have a celebration about your new business coming to Fort Bend County, because we do want to celebrate that.
I think
Wow,
I
this is
just
nice.
think
This
that's
is
awesome.
an exciting
that.
news. I've never heard of that. That's very good.
Yeah,
Who doesn't
it's-
want to be on social
I
media? and
think so,
especially with the
too.
new startup business.
Hey, free
That would-
publicity for your
exactly.
business. We're all about that. We want to
That That is
celebrate,
great.
and we want to give you the publicity for your business. So I know that's kind of traditionally a chamber thing, and go do the chamber thing
Sure,
too.
do 'em both.
Absolutely, do it all, but take
Yeah.
advantage of this, please. It's something that we just recently rolled out.
I just
wow.
heard about
Yeah.
it, and I just thought, you know what, that is for a new business. So listeners, if you're starting a new business, or if
Yeah.
you've just recently started, reach out to the county clerk's office.
Yeah.
And is there a form, or do you just call and say?
There
or
is a form.
Okay,
there is a
you
form.
fill
I mean,
out,
you're welcome
and
to initiate a call, and we can get you to that form to fill out. But yeah, we want some information about your business, and then we're going to decide on a date, and we're going to get it done for you and give you great publicity.
I want to see some of our listeners jump on
Yeah.
that and start
Great.
celebrating
Come
their
on.
Come
new
on,
businesses.
listeners, jump online, call in, tune in, 713-974-4000. We do have Laura Richard, our Fort Bend County Clerk. If you have any questions and concerns, you may discuss that now. Call in.
You talked a little bit about the county courts handling probate matters.
Oh, yes.
As one of their assigned jobs, and so I think that your office handles probably a lot of non-attorneys that are trying to do things for their family and talking
Sometimes.
with them. But I believe that y'all also offer a service for wills in Fort Bend County.
You may file a will with us for safekeeping.
So how does that how does that work? What is that
So
about?
literally, you just come into my office at the Justice Court, and you say you want to file a will with us, and we will put it in our safe. It's a nominal fee. Honestly, I can't remember if it's $12, $7. I mean, it's a very nominal fee. A lot of people like to do that for safekeeping, and you can come and you can get it out again. You say, oh, I want to change my will. So come and get it out again and refile it with us if you'd like.
And so when the time
you will-
comes and it's
right.
needed.
So you'll have an executor
Right.
that will be designated on that will, and so the executor can come and get that will.
And I'm sure
Yes.
that takes a lot of stress off of, worrying about losing the document,
Right.
having it be damaged, having it,
Right.
we get natural disasters all the time. Who
You are
knows
right.
what could happen to a will? And so putting it in the safekeeping of
Right.
the county clerk, I think, is a really smart way to,
In
let's keep
fact,
peace of mind, right?
Absolutely. And in fact, I had to order a larger safe because we ran out of room in our safe. So quite a few people do take advantage of that. Yes. Yeah.
Something that that our listeners might not know, that I think is a fascinating part of what the county clerk does is preserving the history
Yes.
in Fort Bend County.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
You're talking about the larger safe kind of made me
Right.
think about that.
Right. So every year, what I do is I try to digitize more older records. In fact, it was just, last year, as well as a little bit in the previous year, we were working with the Fort Bend County Museum, and they discovered a treasure trove of Commissioner Court records.
Oh, wow.
And so boxes and boxes and boxes. I don't even remember how many boxes. So we transferred all those boxes to my area, and we are meticulously going through those to see if they've already been recorded, or if they haven't been recorded, we're going to get them digitized. So that was kind of an unusual circumstance, but all of our older records are in fact online again. Again, you can just, search those.
I bet the history buffs would love
How
to
far
do that.
do you go back on your records?
1827.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
wow.
Yeah.
And,
Amazing.
We've got a caller, so let's see
Okay.
what
All
our
right.
caller,
All
if they've
right.
got a question for you.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good
How are
afternoon.
you guys
Welcome
doing?
to Dabang Power Hour. How are you today?
I'm doing great, thank you. I just turned on the radio and I heard something support about this for the small businesses.
Yes.
So, I'm a small business coach with one of the nonprofit organizations here in Houston area. I would love to have a contact number or an email address so we can build a partnership with the Fort Bend County and so that way I can connect many small business owners that I'm working with. So that would be a good resources for them.
Wonderful. Yeah, Miss Richard, if you
Absolutely.
want to share whatever the best contact is for him to use to share with
Great.
small businesses, what a great link.
Oh, no, that's wonderful. I want to give you an email address. That's going to be the most direct way to get to us. And let me spell that out for you. It's Clerk. So it's Clerk at fbctx.gov.
All right.
and caller,
could you
I will
please
post-
repeat it one more time.
I'll repeat it, and I'll also post it in the comments on our Facebook page underneath the show. But the email address is clerk at fbctx.gov.
Thank you so much. I will definitely reach out.
Thank you for
Wonderful.
calling.
And please identify yourself as the person that called in so that I know who you are.
Sure. My name is Sadiq.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you for listening.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Okay, yay. We're
Well,
getting
now,
business.
Look at you. Y'all are going to be doing ribbon cuttings all
That's
the time.
right.
now.
There's so many of nonprofits that they help their own community members with small businesses, and that would be a perfect
Oh,
way
that's
to put you guys out
great.
there.
Absolutely.
As a resource.
Oh,
You
I'm
know?
so happy to have that contact.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good,
And
good.
that's good that we'll have it on our Facebook, and anyone that
Okay.
wants to know
Excellent.
more about it and want that resource as well, they can go up to our Facebook and
Wonderful.
get that information off of there.
Oh,
Thank you.
fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Yes, yes.
Laura.
Yes.
There's some other, you mentioned the community service organizations that help small businesses. Veterans, too. I know that y'all do some work for veterans.
I'm very excited about this. We rolled this out this past year. It's called our More Than Words program.
I love the name of that.
Thank a Veteran, yes. So, as a veteran, you want to keep your discharge papers in a very safe place. And certainly after you pass, it becomes very important for your relatives to know
Sure.
where that
For the
is, too,
benefits
for the
and-
benefits,
right.
yes. So, any discharge papers that you have can be recorded in my office for free. And when you record those, or if you've already recorded them with my office, come in. And what we will do is we will make you a veteran ID card, and it'll have your picture on it, your name on it, and what it will then entitle you to is various discounts that we have been able to negotiate with businesses in the community. So show that and you'll get various discounts, and we just want to honor them any way we can. I have somebody working on this that is constantly going to businesses and asking for discounts, so that list is always growing. But we want to make sure you know it's a completely free service for you as the veteran.
As a veteran, do you get any discounts as far as if you need those vital records, any sort of documents from the clerk's office?
There can be. It just depends on what it is that you're
Gotcha.
asking for. So yes, when you come in and ask for that, identify yourself as a veteran, and then we'll make sure you get that. Yes.
Very
yes.
nice.
I might I mention another program
Please.
that I have?
Absolutely. Yes,
Okay,
yes,
okay.
we'd love to know about all your
right.
programs, and that way our community can get involved, or
Okay.
how it'd be a good resources for them. Absolutely.
So Fort Bend County covers a pretty large landmass. And although I have 6 locations within the county, that certainly doesn't cover some of the outlying areas.
Okay.
So this next year, what we're going to be doing and what we got funding for is what we're calling our Records Express. So we're going to be loading up our SUV with all the equipment that we need, and we're going to be going to outlying areas.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, Simonton, Kendallton, some of the far east areas of our county that may not be close, or they may not have transportation to one of the offices.
Sure. Oh, wow.
And so we're going to be able to do all of their recordings, their filings, virtually anything that we can do in the office, we're going to be set up. It may be under a tent, but we're going to be set up and be able to handle their needs, handle their concerns right on site. If there's a library close, we may be, at the library, or we've even looked into having a generator with us, so we can set up under a tent if necessary.
Wow.
This will also aid us in terms of should a disaster hit our area. And so our job doesn't stop.
Sure.
Even if a disaster happens, we are continually working. We worked through the last hurricane. And because we are in certain mandates that, things have to continue to be recorded. Things have to continue to be uploaded to certain databases. We have to give information to DPS. And so we're going to be set up to be able to go mobile, to be able to go outside of an office area, maybe that doesn't even have electricity, and be able to continue to do our work. So this is something I've worked long and hard on, particularly in the on the issue of disasters, but to service those communities that are on the very outskirts, or maybe transportation is an issue in certain areas or with certain communities, and so we want to be able to go directly to them.
And so when did you say that's going to be starting off?
So we're looking at we're actually dependent on getting our vehicle in right now. Don't know how long that will take, but it's fully funded. It's coming. We know that. So as soon as we get that in, we'll be able to schedule things on the calendar. Look at our social media for calendar updates. It'll be on our website as well. We'd love to get that information far and wide so that that particular area knows we're going to come.
Sounds like a good project there.
Yes, absolutely. We kind of did a test run on this. We set up at the Fort Bend County Fair one year. People don't know that we also record brands of animals.
Like livestock brands.
Like livestock brands, that's right. And every 10 years.
Because those have to be unique.
Every 10 years, you've got to re-up on that brand, right? Or certainly come in and record new brands. So they were loving it. They, because they were going to be there anyway with their livestock. And so many of the ranchers and the farmers could just come on site and do that. So, we kind of tested the theory to see if it would work, and we're hopeful that the community embraces this.
We've got just a few minutes left, but I wanted to ask you about one more program that I was impressed with when I heard about it, because it's a busy time of year, the Back to School initiative with the birth certificates.
Oh, yes.
That's just such a huge help for parents trying to get their kids back to school. So let our listeners know about that.
So at least twice a year, we try to have one of these events on a Saturday.
I was just going to ask you about that.
People work, right? They can't. We're 8 to 5, at the county. And so they can't take off, maybe lunchtimes, they can't get there, so forth. So at least twice a year, what we do is we work with the local school systems. And we give them a flyer to disperse, particularly for those that may be registering preschool and kindergarten age children, but those are moving into the community as well and need to get their children registered. So we make sure they have that information, that 2 Saturdays. Usually we do it in April and July, I believe. And those Saturdays we're going to be open for them to issue birth certificates. So for their convenience, we'll also do all of the other duties though. So we've had veterans come in on those days. We've actually had county employees come in on those days.
Wow. It's hard to take a day off
because they work to 8 to 5 too.
Now, is that the only events you do just for birth certificates? Because I was just going to ask you, we had Beverly Walker do events of passport every I think so many months.
Right.
So I was going to ask you, do you do any of these events? But I guess you do the birth certificates. Is there any others that you do, or is it just the birth
We will do
certificates?
everything on those days,
Okay.
actually.
Okay,
So
great.
whatever you need on those days, we've kind of flagged it as birth certificates just for those particular, because we work so closely with the school system.
Right.
And for those parents who do work or, know that they need that birth certificate by a certain time, right? Because everything's timed with the school system.
Right.
But what we've talked about doing, and what I think we will do, is we will broaden our message to include all of those other things that we will do on that
Okay.
day as well. Yes.
Nice.
And what we've also talked about, but don't hold me to this, okay? So if the community wants this, they're going to have to reach out to me and let me know.
Yeah.
But what we talked about is having a Saturday event once a quarter at
Okay.
least.
Yeah.
And being able to do all of those services
Right.
for the community that the county clerk offers.
I think that's
Oh,
just
good. This is
recognizing.
But
that
you got to let me
people-
know if you want
Sure,
it.
that's
because
right.
Absolutely.
That's
I'm sure
right.
there's a lot of communities out there, especially South Asian communities.
Yes.
They do a lot of events where it serves their own members of the community. So something like this would be amazing, and I'm sure after this show, if we do mention it, that, hey, if any of the communities that are listening to us, nonprofits, if you guys want this kind of services in your communities, they have mosques that like to keep all these events
let
up,
us
right?
know if you want us to come out.
Laura is here, and you can reach out to Laura Richards.
Absolutely.
Fort County Clerk, and she can help you set that up for you and for your communities here. So you can find that information on our Facebook after the show, and you may reach out to her that way. And what is a good reach out for you? Is that the email that you gave?
The email that I
Okay.
gave, yes,
So
absolutely.
the email is where you will reach out to have your services.
Yeah,
To be
we're
put
happy
in
to
your
come to you.
communities.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
Thank you so much
Amazing.
for joining us today. I
thank
think that our
you.
listeners have gotten
Lots
whole,
of information.
a whole lot of information on ways that your office can help them and services that you can provide to them.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
And we will be posting the information, contact information, website information on our social media, on our Facebook page, so listeners can go there. And please feel free to share the social media.
Absolutely,
as well,
we will.
on your social media. And I just think that these are great services for the people of Fort Bend County, and I think that the South Asian community, they want to be involved, and they
Yes.
want to make sure that they've got those resources and
Yeah.
easy access. And so that's
Absolutely.
fantastic that you were able to join us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate
so much
it
for
so
all
much.
the information you shared with us
Absolutely.
and with our listeners today.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And so everybody that's listening and that are going to listen in the future out in the social media world, thanks for joining us today.
I
Dabang-
wanted to
I'm
actually.
sorry,
I actually
Afsheen?
wanted to talk about one thing,
Oh, okay.
just for our listeners. Elections coming up.
It is.
I really want our South Asian communities come out, get to know your electives, find out who's on the ballot. The way to find out, you can go to the Fort Bend County website. You can know who's actually on the ballot. Target them on Facebook. See where they're at, where they're having their events. Like I want to talk about this one event I went to over the weekend, and I was invited for Democrats to get out to vote. That was actually the name, and I believe our Brian Middleton, our DA, was actually the spokesman there. He was a speaker. It was an amazing event. Just the way they pulled people out and how all the electives came. They engaged with everyone, and this is exactly what I want everyone to come out to do. Just get out of your beds, come out. Everybody wants to do something. You want to do something, get out and get to know these people, find out where all these things are happening. There are a few of the communities that you can get involved in. One's a Muslim Politic Network. There's another one called South Asian Circle, Bangladeshi American. These little communities, they're actually out there building their groups there. Reach out to them, get involved, become members. You get to know a lot of events that are happening around town in Fort Bend County, where you can go and target them and and reach out, shake hands with those electives. They are just like us. You will get to know them, and you will be so proud to know them, and you will know exactly who you are voting for. So I really, really encourage you guys to come out. And if you guys want to know more about these communities, where to get involved, reach out to us on Facebook at Dabang Radio, and we are happily to guide you there as well. So one of the few of the community nonprofits are Muslim Politic Network. You can reach them out on Facebook, become members. South Asian Circle, that's one of them. You can reach them out as well on Facebook and, become members. Memberships are free, so you don't have to pay for these memberships. Maybe along the way, when they become bigger, they might ask you for a fee, which is completely okay because you are supporting your own community. Another one is Bangladeshi Americans. So if you are a Bangladeshi, you want to get involved, hey, reach out to them on Facebook. I think it is a wonderful platform they brought out, and for you guys to come out and share your words, speak out, your voice matters, and engage. And that is all what this whole platform is about. Engage. Thank you, guys. Thank you for listening to us.